There is an ironic truth happening in the United Kingdom. Aspects of life that were once considered excessive or lacking in refinement in the American style are now becoming trends eagerly embraced by the British.
I just wanted to show you that this is my air conditioning, and I have got it running 24/7.
In America, we call this a restroom because it's a room where you can take a rest and relieve you.
This is fire. God, it's so creamy, just feel my arteries.
From air conditioning units to the habit of calling the bathroom a restroom, the British are gradually shedding their inherent conservatism. America doesn't need to persuade anyone, they just need to create convenience and let the atmosphere speak for itself. In the next 20 minutes, I will help you decode 10 things the British once mocked, but have now taken over the entire United Kingdom. I promise this video will provide you with extremely fresh cultural and economic perspectives that you haven't heard anywhere else. Don't forget to leave a comment about your favorite aspect of American culture below. Do you find this scene familiar, guys? If anyone has ever been to England, they have surely experienced the nightmare known as these two separate taps. One side is freezing cold as if wanting to freeze your hands, while the other side is scorching hot as if ready to boil shrimp. The British once considered this a unique tradition, even mocking Americans for using mixer taps as lazy and impatient. They take pride in their endurance and meticulousness when they have to mix the water by hand every morning. But what is the truth behind these two faucets? Historically, the old plumbing system in England separated the cold water supply, drinkable directly from the source, and the hot water supply, boiled from a separate tank prone to limescale, to avoid contamination. But from a behavioral psychology perspective, this is the phenomenon of microfriction, the small, repetitive annoyances encountered daily. And many Europeans have acknowledged these troubles.
This is a sink in the United States. One faucet with two handles for hot and cold so you can mix it together. But in the UK, they can't regulate their body temperatures, so they have to have two separate faucets because they're extremely cold-blooded. And I mean that literally, their blood is actually cold. It's so cold that it's blue. And they've been accused by many countries of being alien species, which is how they got the idea for the blue alien in The Fifth Element.
On the contrary, the American design philosophy is very simple and practical. The house must serve people, not the other way around. A mixer tap combines two streams of water into one, adjusting to a comfortable warm temperature before it touches your hand. It completely resolves the hassle in just 1 second. Therefore, in hotels, restaurants, and newly renovated houses in England today, American-style mixer taps are appearing every place. Practical convenience has completely defeated conservatism. If you also see combining the two faucets as a life-saving improvement for daily life, don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel to support me in creating more interesting analysis videos. But the collapse of the two taps was just the beginning of the wave of American-style conveniences flooding into England. But if the tap only bothers you when washing your hands, the next thing once caused the entire British society to fall apart during the summer days. Let's see what happens when a country famous for enduring the heat has to fight over every air conditioner.
All right, so Americans are learning that the British people don't have AC in their homes. Okay, now I don't know if that's 100% of the whole country of England, but most people don't have AC in their houses, right? Now, where the confusion lies for me is I see British people talking about AC as if they've never experienced AC in their lives. So my question is this. In England, is there not AC in hotels? Is there not AC in your cars? Like, is AC really just non-existent over there? That's where I'm confused.
You know, in the past, the British often looked at America and shook their heads. These Americans are so weak, always relying on air conditioning. They take pride in their thick, ancient brick houses designed to keep warm during the cold winter. But alas, when the weather changed with 3 record heat waves in just 1 year, those thick walls turned the house into a sauna with drawn curtains. The hot air trapped inside is like a persistent guest who refuses to leave. In the US, people consider indoor temperature to be a basic living standard. Whether it's scorching hot or as humid as a greenhouse outside, stepping into a supermarket, office, or home, the temperature is always comfortable. And this is the point of social psychological explosion. Convenience is highly addictive. When the British began to experience the feeling of stepping into a cool hotel lobby, their shirts no longer sticking to their backs, they immediately realized a truth. They didn't have to negotiate or endure the sweltering weather right in their own homes.
You want to know what the biggest culture shock is as a European living in America? ACs and dryers. I grew up, if it was summer, it's 1,000 degrees inside. You're going to sweat. And if you need your clothes washed, they will hang everywhere. On chairs, on sofas, everywhere we have space, there's going to be some clothes hanging. You move to America, and suddenly, there's a machine for that.
From viewing air conditioning as an American luxury, the British have turned it into an essential daily need, to the point where people line up from dawn when stores announce they have AC. But the hunt for air conditioners is not the strangest thing. What do you think if one day the British decided to hang up the American flag, throw a BBQ party, and celebrate the day they defeated their own empire in the 18th century? Let's move on to number 3 right now.
4th of July, now a Super Bowl!
Yes. Does anyone see a humorous paradox, folks? Independence Day, July 4th, the day Americans celebrate their independence and defeat of the British Empire in the 18th century. Yet now, right in the ancient city of Bath, or the capital London, restaurants are hanging bright American flags, launching special menus, and throwing grand barbecues. The British used to mock the excessive enthusiasm of Americans during holidays. However, now British businesses are eagerly welcoming July 4th just as much as a picnic in Ohio. Of course, no Englishman would celebrate the defeat in their country's history. The perspective here is entirely about the economic and social psychology aspects. From a commercial perspective, British businesses import July 4th because it brings something called commercial joy, the commercial energy that generates revenue. America has a very special ability to turn an ordinary calendar day into a vibrant and joyful community festival.
Y'all, the Europeans are going to experience 4th of July. Oh my God, America's 250th 4th of July. Are you kidding me? I don't think the European mind is going to be able to comprehend the sheer amount of fireworks that are launched into our airspace. like they're already freaking out about Wendy's, Buc-ee's, and Ranch. There's surely going to be some bombs bursting in air. Let me tell you that, dude. The 250th anniversary? Oh my God, I'm so excited for them.
In Europe or England, patriotism or commemorative occasions often carry a solemn tone, appearing only during royal celebrations or major football tournaments. But Americans turn it into a wonderfully simple excuse. Just wear red, white, and blue, fire up the barbecue grill, play some music, and set off fireworks. That simplicity gives the English a legitimate reason to set aside restraint, gather freely, eat, and have fun without any complicated reasons. If you find the way Americans turn every holiday into a fun party to be a philosophy of life worth learning, please like the video and subscribe to the channel to explore more interesting things with me. Accepting the American 4th of July barbecue is already an incredible openness. But this next change touches the very core of British cultural identity, as a term once considered an American euphemism is now starting to replace the traditional British term for the restroom at the largest train stations.
In the UK, the British don't say restroom or bathroom. The British say toilet or loo. It's not rude. Why restroom? Are we going to rest in here? Why bathroom? Do you see a bus? Toilet. It's straight to the point, isn't it? Loo. Why loo? Because loo.
This is definitely something that would shock many traditional English people. Until now, the British have been extremely proud of their native vocabulary. They used to mock the American term restroom as a ridiculous euphemism, because who on earth goes into a bathroom to rest? Yet, right at King's Cross Station, the transportation hub of London, people quietly removed the signs for loo or toilette and replaced them with the American-style restroom. Why is there this change? It all lies in the practicality of American English. In tourist megacities that welcome millions of international visitors each year, American English serves as a global signpost system. The word restroom is neutral, polite, clean, and most importantly, anyone who hears it understands it immediately without needing an explanation. In a crowded train station, where travelers are juggling their bags and worrying about missing their trains, clarity and directness always triumph over linguistic sophistication. This is the very characteristic cultural absorption rule in England. First, they will frown and criticize, then reluctantly use it because it's too convenient, use it continuously for 20 years, and then forget that the word originally came from America. Just like how the British now comfortably use the word season to refer to a TV show season instead of the traditional series without anyone questioning it anymore. Language changing is one thing, but the next point is truly a spectacular turnaround. What do you think about a music genre that was once considered only for farmers driving pickup trucks in Texas, now sweeping the UK music charts and even captivating football superstar Harry Kane? Let's take a look right now. Who would have thought? There was a time when the British considered American country music something extremely foreign, too cheesy, and only for farmers driving pickup trucks across the Texas fields. However, now, stepping into a pub in London amidst the foggy rain, you can hear the melodies of American country music echoing. Not only that, American country singers like Ella Langley have swept into the top 3 of the UK music charts, and even football superstar Harry Kane is excited to go see the show.
So when I first came out to America, I always told myself I would try my hardest to get embedded in the culture, try new things, and everything of the sort. But there is one thing that I never thought I would be into, and now I absolutely love it. And that is country music. I can't get enough of the stuff. Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, George Strait, some of the newer artists as well I like. And I just listen to it every day. And as a Brit, it's a big culture shock, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So if there is artists that I need to listen to, or if there's songs that I need to listen to, throw them my way. I'd appreciate it.
What has made this once mocked genre of music win over the ears of the English? The answer lies in emotional clarity. American country music has the ability to turn everyday stories, a gas station, an old photograph, a breakup, or a bad Friday, into a catchy tune that thousands can sing along to. Psychologically, British society is known for its habit of restraint, always downplaying and hesitating to express true emotions. Understatement. Country music gives them a special license to live authentically with their emotions, to be a bit cheesy, to freely sing loudly about everyday breakdowns without needing to feel embarrassed or apologize to anyone. Amidst the freezing cold outside, immersing oneself in the warm, sincere American atmosphere is an experience hard to refuse. If you also enjoy the feeling of relaxing and getting lost in the genuine melodies of music, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to give me more motivation to create content. The rise of country music has proven the power of emotional rituals. But when it comes to the skill of turning something ordinary into a consumer ritual that captivates the entire nation, one cannot help but mention a biscuit brand. Originally, the United Kingdom boasts an entire empire of afternoon tea biscuits with timeless names like digestives and hobnobs. When Oreo officially entered the UK market in 2008, many people scoffed. How can this black, overly sweet cookie compete with our traditional tea-dipping biscuits? However, now, Oreo not only occupies a prime eye-level position on every supermarket shelf in the UK, but has also become the national snack of the youth. What is the secret behind this victory? The answer does not lie in the flavor, but in the ritual of enjoyment, playfulness, and ritual. A traditional digestive biscuit only requires you to perform a passive action. Pick it up and bite. But Oreo brings an interactive game tied to emotions. Twist, lick, dunk. From a behavioral marketing perspective, when a product allows consumers to directly participate and make personal choices, some carefully separate the layers, some bite them in half, others dip them fully into a glass of milk. It creates a much stronger psychological connection. Oreo does not simply sell a snack. They sell fun, creativity, and a small entertainment experience right at your fingertips. That is why the British, despite still loving their afternoon tea, must quietly reserve a fixed spot in their pantry for the American cookie brand. The success of Oreo has proven the power of turning consumer behavior into a celebration. But if the cookie only invaded your living room, the next phenomenon, once considered the ultimate madness of American consumerism, now has millions of Brits staying up all night hunting for sales. At this point, it's really too late to turn back, you know. Going back about 10 years, when watching news about Black Friday in the US, the British would often smirk and say, "What a pointless shopping frenzy, pushing and shoving each other just for some discounted TVs." At first, hearing the name Black Friday, people even thought it was a day of economic recession or some kind of disaster. However, looking at the current numbers, Black Friday has completely taken over and become the most explosive shopping event of the year right in the United Kingdom. What has turned irony into such a fervent behavior? The core factor lies in consumer psychology and the rise of e-commerce. The British are extremely fond of bargains and discounted items, but they are very averse to the chaos and commotion in physical stores. When Amazon and online platforms brought Black Friday to the digital space, that psychological barrier was immediately removed. No need to jostle or argue, just sit at home and click away. From an economic perspective, the United States has a superpower, creating consumer holidays out of thin air and exporting them worldwide. They turned a regular shopping day after Thanksgiving into a global stimulus event, tapping into the human instinct for bargain hunting. Whether American or British, when faced with a favorite item discounted by 50%, cultural conservatism must give way to the joy of hunting for sales. If you've ever promised yourself that you wouldn't buy anything this year, but ended up staying up on Black Friday to snag deals, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to join me in decoding the next interesting consumer phenomena. And speaking of importing American culture, it doesn't just stop at online shopping festivals. The next item, number 8, will take us to a legendary American dish, one that was once criticized by British food critics for being too greasy and too cheesy, but now appears prominently on the menus of British restaurants. Oh, look at this cheese pull sandwich, everyone. With such richness, who could possibly resist it? A few years ago, when British food critics mentioned American food, they would often curl their lips in disdain. All greasy, calorie-laden dishes, lacking sophistication and too harsh on the palate. The legendary Philly cheesesteak, a sandwich with grilled beef and cheese from the city of Philadelphia, was once considered a symbol of excess. But look, now from the top street food markets in London to the limited menus of major fast food chains in the UK, Philly cheesesteak is making waves and being eagerly sought after by the youth. This is the rise of comfort food, stress-relieving cuisine. The lifestyle of the younger generation in England is becoming faster and more pressured, and they are no longer as passionate about elaborate, traditional meals. American food wins big thanks to its straightforwardness. Rich in flavor, greasy, overflowing with cheese, and one bite releases happiness hormones immediately. America doesn't try to turn cuisine into an academic art form, they turn it into a pure entertainment experience. The Philly cheesesteak wins over British diners not because it is delicately elegant, but because it provides absolute satisfaction to the taste buds after a long, tiring day. When the stomach is hungry and the mind needs to unwind, a portion of steaming, saucy cheesesteak always has a stronger persuasive power than any harsh culinary critique. The rise of rich American cuisine has shown how the British palate is gradually becoming more open. But that change doesn't stop at food or shopping. Now, we will see how the media and American film platforms have quietly erased a traditional British term from the small screen. If you had asked an English person about 10 years ago, they would have firmly asserted that a collection of television episodes should be called a series, while season was an Americanized term that sounded really funny. Because in the old mindset of the British, series was for films, while season referred to the 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. But looking at the current reality, from film discussions on social media to the very television networks in the UK, people are using the word season as naturally as if it had been there for hundreds of years. Where does the nature of this change come from? That is, the power of the communication infrastructure, the Netflix and Hollywood effect. Language in everyday life always tends to change according to where the content distribution infrastructure is held. When British audiences binge-watch thousands of hours of films on major American online platforms, the term season constantly catches their eye every day. It has inadvertently become a default operating system in global media thinking. No one holds a national meeting to approve vocabulary changes. New words are simply convenient, familiar, through repetition, and gradually become part of daily communication without needing anyone's permission. The British accept the term season not because they intentionally abandoned the term series, but because the American term has brought uniformity and clarity worldwide. From faucets, food, holidays, to words on television, America seems to be present in every corner of life in England. But in the final item number 10 right after this, we will come to the most important thing. A profound change in the very attitude of the English as they begin to learn how to open their hearts and embrace American comfort. Until now, the British have always prided themselves on their restraint, calmness, and somewhat reserved nature. They used to look at American culture with skepticism, believing that Americans' constant enthusiasm, decorating their homes with flags, or laughing and talking loudly in the streets was too ostentatious and lacking in subtlety. However, after all these years of interaction, do you know what the most surprising thing is? It is precisely that openness that is quietly infiltrating and changing every corner of life in England. Because, in essence, the core of this Americanization wave does not lie in the water faucet, the cookie, or the cup of tea. What the British are really importing is the license to be comfortably themselves. On international news broadcasts, America is often framed by images of division, noise, and tension. But when truly engaging at the level of personal life, the American spirit of generosity, openness, enthusiasm, and a desire to fully enjoy life becomes an incredibly attractive magnet. It brings a refreshing breeze to a society that is used to enduring and restraining. The British realize that sometimes letting oneself go, laughing out loud, and not fearing judgment from others is also a way of living worth trying. If you feel that these analyses of cultural intersections resonate with your thoughts, don't hesitate to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share your feelings in the comments. The world of culture is always in constant motion. The fact that the British embrace American-style practical conveniences does not diminish their unique identity. It only shows one thing: convenience, an open spirit, and genuine joy always have the strongest persuasive power. America doesn't need grandiose speeches. They just need to put up the flag, fire up the grill, lower the room temperature, and let the atmosphere speak for itself. What do you think about this wave of cultural shift? In your opinion, what aspects of American lifestyle or convenient habits should we adopt in our daily lives? Please leave your comments in the section below. If you find this video interesting and it offers fresh perspectives, please like, share, and hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you won't miss the next captivating cultural and social analyses. The video is created based on observations, publicly available cultural and social data, and personal media analysis perspectives for entertainment and educational purposes. The content does not represent the entire institution, policies, or political views of any country.